We sure have a great show for you today, guys, and can't wait to get started. But first, here's your host, Romane Orlando Robb.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Romane Robb Show. Yeah, a very, very long overdue episode. A lot has transpired since the last time we've spoken. I've taken on a new client, GB, and I'm gonna get into a bit about the inner workings or the business side of talent management. I'm also going to talk a bit about software engineering. I'm actually not, I didn't write anything down, so I think it's best to just start with the talent management thing and then go into the software engineering thing before I lose my train of thought. So, when it comes to managing talent, especially like managing a musician, as the manager, I think it's incredibly important if you have in-depth knowledge of business. And here's why. You are supposed to, all right, this person could be your friend, you could have just met last week, or you've been watching their talents for a while. At the end of the day, this person you're representing is a brand. They may not be a big brand now, but the eventuality is to turn this person into a global brand. In most cases. I mean, if your client just wants to be a niche player in a certain market, yeah, but most of the clients I choose to manage, they have to have global aspirations. It actually makes it way more interesting in managing them. Because that's how my mind works. Global, you know? I mean, I do 1,000,001 things and I'm still trying to do more. So if I'm going to take on the responsibility of someone's career, it has to be worth it for both parties. I mean, obviously, right? So now, in terms of this new artist I'm currently managing, GB, the first thing I did was I set up a company for him, where technically we're partners in this venture. It's called GB Corporation. And what that means is, I had to get him incorporated in the state of Delaware. I had to trademark the brand. I had to copyright the music. I mean, there are some managers that literally do none of this. They just I'm the manager on paper, but we have a legal team that does this. We have a PR person or team that does this. I consider myself to be a full service manager. Again, if I'm going to represent this person with the goal of turning him or her or they or them into a global brand, then I want to be involved in as many facets of their professional lives as much as possible. Because in most cases, I have equity stakes in these companies, so it's also in my best interest to make sure they're a success. So, in terms of aspiring talent managers, actually know business. Don't just be this Google business person. Have you ever started a company before? I mean, do you understand what it means to incorporate, trademark? All of these are incredibly crucial. Also, if you're managing musicians, publishing, incredibly important. And I've met a lot of so-called managers who literally have no idea about these areas. Their response is, yeah, I don't really manage that part. We have someone that does that. So what's your role? What are you? Just someone whose name gets added to the artist's bio on Instagram? Like, talent, you should definitely be asking your managers these questions like, am I a part of a publishing company? Am I part of a PRO, publishing rights organization like ASCAP or BMI? What's going on with that? Am I protected from liability? All these designs that I'm doing for merch, are they trademarked or copyright? These are very, very important questions that a lot of managers don't know, because the idea of what it means to be a manager is just like maybe they watch Entourage or or they watch a TV show or just see people on the internet saying, "Hey, I manage artists." But if you dig deep, most of these so-called managers have little to no knowledge of business. Now, my background is in finance, economics, and law, and I'm currently pursuing my MBA. But put all of that aside, I've started over 10 companies. So if I'm giving advice to a talent in regards to business decisions, I'm speaking from actual experience, and that is so important. I mean, it's mind-boggling how many artists put their careers in the hands of their friends, and then voila, nothing comes into fruition because their friends have little to no knowledge about business. It's cool to be on social media saying I'm a businessman, but when it comes to payroll and HR, you have no clue. Your response is, yeah, we have someone else who handles that part. And then you ask them another question, yeah, we have someone else who handles that part. The more questions you ask them is the more you realize, okay, so this person doesn't actually do anything. Don't have that person be your manager. They could be your assistant, they could be your friend, or you could give them like a cool title, executive assistant or vice president of development, or, but don't let this person be responsible for managing your career. I know I went on like a bit of a rant there, but it's incredibly important, man. I've actually turned down clients who thought this was going to be like a hobby um, or just not taking it serious. This is a real business. We have real contracts. We have real goals, And hey, I like to be blunt. I like to be bold. I like to be direct with people. And sometimes potential clients don't like that. They like to be spoon-fed. They like to be coddled. I can't do that. It's a waste of time for both of us. So yeah, that's not how I manage talents. I'm a businessman, like an actual businessman. So I have to operate very differently than the typical social media talent manager. So yeah. Now, on to software engineering. So I've started to take software engineering as in addition to my skill set. I've started to take it incredibly serious. So I've been really honing my skills on JavaScript, Python, and SQL. I mean, if you watch some of my videos on YouTube, Coding with Robb, I give a bit of a backstory as to how I got started in coding. Going back to my businessman entrepreneurial roots, I started my first clothing company when I was in high school around 14, 15, and I had to create the website for that company. When I say I had to, at the time, there was no Fiverr or Freelancer that was very prominent that I could just go out and say, hey guys, I'll pay you this and you work on my website for me. No, so I had to do it myself. So that got me really knowledgeable in HTML and CSS. And yeah, at the time I had no idea I was really coding. I just saw it as, I'm just inputting, how do I put this? I'm just making changes to a web page using numbers behind the scenes, numbers and letters behind the scenes. But it turns out I was actually coding. And looking back on it now, it's amazing because I'm using that knowledge as the foundation for what I do now. I mean, just to back up a bit, when I said I'm starting to take software engineering a lot serious, I'm actually looking to work with like a prominent company. I mean, it doesn't have to be a FANG, which stands for Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. But I'm looking to be a part of a big enough company where I can actually learn, like really gain first-hand experience with like talented software engineers working in an environment where, we could feed off each other with ideas and stuff like that. And I think that will only just, that will just allow me to be better. I mean, obviously, right? But also I can take that talent and add it to Roselle Consulting, which is a consulting and talent recruiting firm, which also does a bit software engineering. And I was just thinking a couple of years ago that Roselle Consulting, I just started it just to give just to give my expertise on business, and now it's grown into this whole other thing, which there's so many other divisions, and which includes now software engineering duties, and yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really loving this journey of software engineering. I'm reading a lot of articles. I'm so committed to this now, and it's just fun to see how rewarding it can be. And yeah, so a lot more, but I'm gonna try to keep this podcast going on a weekly basis. I know I took a very long time off, and it's just due to the fact that I just wanted to. I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, I recently set up an entire studio in New Jersey, and it's now functioning uh, amazingly. So if you want to actually book a session for anything, you can hit me up, or email Robb Entertainment, and we'll definitely take care of you. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and hopefully I'll check back in with you guys next week. Peace.
This has been a Robb Radio Network production. Check out our website at rrn.robbent.com. Thank you for listening.